So what areas of investments are exec leaders and security IT leaders often not aligned on? Often it's a trade-off between the business innovation investments versus the security risks that are being introduced by those investments. Inherently, that creates a security confidence gap between leaders that represent non-IT security functions and those leaders that represent IT security. Now, what that means is that coming from a non-IT function, usually you're going to have a higher degree of confidence that what you're implementing or proposing is highly secure. And that misalignment from somebody who's coming from a security function is going to create that misalignment within the C-suite on some of those core business outcomes and objectives. So there needs to be some intentional focus on closing that security confidence gap. And it's just so important that organizations understand how critical that the CISOs and the CIOs role is when protecting the business and its customers. IT security leaders are ultimately on the hook to not only defend the company's expanding attack surface, but to own that incident response in case of a breach. How can CEOs and CISOs improve communication and collaborate to instill a stronger security-minded organization culture? CISOs set the pace and tone for the organization's security strategy. And a culture of security, in my personal experience, is when an individual employee feels empowered to move fast within those approved security guardrails. And this then will lead to things like faster time to value for new initiatives, quicker innovation cycles, and better experiences overall for our customers, for both internal and external customers. CEOs and CISOs can also ensure that their security guardrails are followed by communicating widely about even their existence. Sometimes organizations don't realize that there are security guardrails in place already, and those guardrails need to also be reevaluated regularly so that they're up to date. This puts the organization in more of a proactive posture when it comes to security concerns rather than in a reactive state, which typically, if it's a reactive state, you're addressing security concerns via ticketing system that then stagnates your ability to grow and to get that synergy that you need from what you're trying to implement within your own respective organization. So when you're leading with security first, then the security mindset across the business becomes more organic regardless of the role. So vulnerability management, it's an absolute bedrock principle of a modern cybersecurity strategy. And CISOs today, they're challenged with up-leveling that threat and vulnerability conversation to a diverse C-suite team. They need to be capable of accurately representing what is the real business impact of the current and or potential threats to the business. What is the impact to its customers, while ultimately ensuring what the CIO wants, which is the high availability of their solutions. Something that I found that is also personally helpful is when the CISO helps up-level a security model understanding. One of the security models like this would be the CIA triad. This stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability, and that helps ensure that CISOs get the alignment that they need on their security vision, on that incident response posture, and ultimately their execution strategy. How can CISOs help non-security leaders understand the goals of vulnerability management and align expectations about how security and IT resources are being used across their organization? CISOs can leverage real life analogies to help non-security leaders understand their goals and expectations. I heard this explained really well by a CTO from one of our healthcare customers and how he and his CISO rationalize their spend, objectives, and that risk strategy to their board. Because they're in healthcare, they chose to bring in healthcare analogies to help convey their message, such as an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? So an example he used was comparing their security tooling to the same tooling that their hospitals use to facilitate and understand blood work. Similar to blood work analysis being a cornerstone to patient care, their security tooling needed to be acting in the same way to quickly diagnose and take action for healing. So this meant that leveraging tools for device discovery, patch compliance, and scoring vulnerability scanning, and overall device health. Implementing that allowed them to put in a process that was similar to a blood draw process for patients, right? Now, this ability to dynamically communicate in a common language helped create that engagement that they needed in the alignment to help drive their security strategy forward with their board. CISOs must be able to convey the enormity of the risk their organization faces, even when through some combination of competence and luck that they may not have fallen victim to a significant attack to date. And that role requires tremendous finesse to communicate the complex risk management concepts to the CEO and board. At the end of the day, the CISO has to enable the business, and this allows them to add value and not friction to the overall organization's ability to innovate. They can use metrics and tools that measure impact of a security incident. This can measure company reputation impact, customer satisfaction, employee engagement and productivity through the impact of that event. This can also be extended to do tracking numbers for formal complaints, lawsuits, media coverage, customer attrition. Something that a CIO would want is to understand, well, what is my availability versus downtime because of a data breach? And these things that are related to security issues will then allow the CEO to step up and be decisive in the actions that are being taken to what's being tracked with those security metrics and those objectives. And what this does, this demonstrates then that the company has the backing of their security strategy and ultimately being secure by default.